The click of the latch was the only sound in the otherwise silent house. 8 years. 8 years of building this life, brick by painstaking brick. 8 years of laughter echoing in these hallways, of tiny handprints smudged on freshly painted walls, of whispered promises and shared dreams beneath the duvet in our bedroom. Now, the silence felt oppressive, heavy with secrets. She emerged from the kids' room, her smile still plastered on, the kind reserved for bedtime stories and lullabies. It crumbled and then vanished altogether when she saw me standing in the doorway. Her eyes, usually sparkling with warmth, were wide with a stunned, cold fear. "Barrett, I didn't hear you come in," she murmured, her voice barely audible. I didn't respond. Instead, I simply held up my phone, the screen illuminated with a picture. Her and him, entwined in our car in broad daylight. A casual snapshot a friend had sent, a picture that had shattered my world into a million pieces. The blood drained from her face. She swayed, one hand reaching for the wall to steady herself. The performance was Oscar-worthy. "Barrett, please, let me explain." Her words were choked, rehearsed. "Explain what, Julia?" My voice was low, dangerously calm. "Explain how you could look into our children's eyes, kiss them goodnight, knowing you were betraying everything we built together?" The anger inside me burned hot, but I kept my tone measured. She stammered, tears welling, but I cut her off. Don't insult me with your crocodile tears. Save it for your lover." His name hung in the air, thick with disgust. Daniel. My supposed friend. The one who'd been there for me through thick and thin, offering advice, sharing beers, all the while dismantling my life behind my back. He means nothing to me," she whispered, voice trembling. I laughed, a harsh, hollow sound. "Nothing? You're willing to risk everything, our family, our home, our children's happiness, for nothing." The silence that followed was deafening. She knew she was caught, exposed. "Where is he?" My voice was barely above a whisper. She flinched. I don't know." The lie was transparent. I pulled out my phone again, dialing Daniel's number and putting it on speaker. It rang 3 times before he answered, his voice jovial, unsuspecting. "Hey, Barrett. What's up?" The casual greeting, the audacity of it, sent a fresh wave of fury through me. Julia's eyes were locked on mine, pleading, terrified. "Daniel," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "I know." Silence. Then a stammered, "No, what?" I held up the phone, letting Julia see the screen as his name flashed. "I know about you and my wife. I know about your little rendezvous in my car." Another silence. Then a click. He'd hung up. Coward. Julia collapsed onto the floor, sobbing hysterically. I watched her, feeling nothing. The love, the trust, the years of shared memories, all reduced to ashes. Without another word, I turned and walked out of the house. I got in my car and drove aimlessly at first, the rage smoldering in my chest. Then I knew where I was going. Daniel lived in a sleek, modern apartment complex, a stark contrast to our modest family home. I parked across the street and waited. It didn't take long. He emerged looking disheveled, his face pale, phone pressed to his ear. He was panicked, probably calling Julia. I got out of the car and walked toward him. He saw me and froze, his phone slipping from his hand and clattering onto the pavement. "Barrett," he stammered, eyes wide with fear. I didn't say a word. I just swung. My fist connected with his jaw, sending him sprawling to the ground. He cried out, clutching his face. I roared, standing over him. "You betrayed me. You destroyed my family." He cowered, shielding himself from my fury. I grabbed him by the collar and hauled him to his feet. "You think you can just walk away from this?" I snarled. "You think you can steal my wife and everything I worked for?" He whimpered, his eyes darting around for an escape. There was none. "I'm going to ruin you, Daniel," I said, my voice low and menacing. "I'm going to take everything from you, just like you took everything from me." I released him, and he stumbled back, face bruised and bloody. I turned and walked away, leaving him crumpled on the sidewalk, a broken, pathetic figure. The next few weeks were a blur. The divorce proceedings were messy, painful. Julia fought me every step of the way, trying to paint me as the villain, the unstable one. But I had the evidence, the proof of her betrayal. The judge saw through her lies. I got custody of the kids. They were confused, heartbroken. I tried my best to explain, to shield them from the ugliness of it all. But the damage was done. Daniel, meanwhile, lost everything, his reputation, his job, his fancy apartment. He became a pariah, ostracized by everyone who once called him a friend. His world, the one he built on lies and deceit, crumbled around him. It wasn't the revenge I had initially craved. It wasn't satisfying. It was hollow, empty. The only solace I found was in my children's eyes, in their unconditional love. We were broken, scarred, but we were together. And slowly, painfully, we began to heal. To rebuild our lives, brick by painstaking brick. The silence in the house was no longer oppressive. It was filled with the quiet murmur of resilience, the whispered promise of a new beginning.